So I just did the preliminary inspection where I took photos with an emphasis on any cosmetic blemishes or also focusing on the panel alignment, which I'll take back to my desk and do a photo analysis to check for structural correctness on the top end. But just looking at it from here, it's hard to tell, but I can tell on the hood it is darker than the adjacent panels as well as the roof. The way the sun's glaring right now, yeah, it's just kind of difficult to see, but I already took the paint meter readings and it'll support what I'm seeing now. But let's go ahead and dial right on in. I always start off with the front. The headlight lenses, they've got some yellowing, right? No cloudiness, just yellowing. Just from use, but still perfectly functional. Bumper is nice and secure, so is the grille and the trim pieces. So good. We've already checked all the lights, low beam, high beam works, turn signals, and so that's been verified as well. There's just a light coating of dust here, but the paint is smooth to the touch. It does have a nice luster. I can see the sparkling here as the sun hits it. But just getting the paint meter readings here, 8, 6.5, and 7.5 and 6.5. So typically, so like right here, I don't know if the camera will pick up on it, but here I can see the lightness on the fender versus the hood. But the paint looks like it was nicely done. Just the tone is off. All right. Factory paint work, I typically see that anywhere from 3.5 to 6. Here, when we get these lower readings, the 2.5, 3. That can be one of a number of things. It's been repainted, or it's been buffed and detailed so much that it's thinned out the paint a little bit. So what's important on these older cars is if I get paint meter readings and if I get like a 1, right, or 0.5, that's good to know, because if you ever have the car detailed, you want to let the detailer know not to spend too much time on that spot, because they could potentially burn the paint. So that's why this information is useful. This little scuff right there. I also like to get a shot of the wheel well area while I'm running this video here, and I try to capture as many angles as possible. Not only will I review this, but just for you to look at it as well. Shot of the strut. Okay. I'm not seeing any damage to the underside of the wheel well area, and that's what I'm looking for. Any red flags where I would need to dig in a little deeper. We're looking at the Michelin X Tour AS all season. 21570 R1598H is the speed rating there. And looking at the DOT number when the tire was manufactured, it looks like it's the 39th week of 2017. So good. Tread looks like brand new tire, near new. Plenty of tread here. Now I'm not seeing any abnormal tire wear. I'll still take a picture from the underside with the square view of the tire. While I'm down here, I like to get a side view of the panels. And what I do is I kind of manipulate the angle a little bit here. And what I'm doing is I'm just checking for any signs of waviness, dings, or dents. Looks pretty good. Now we get a shot of the outside mirror. These typically take a beating when they get scraped up because they are protruding. Okay. Windshield, I looked at the glass. I didn't see any obvious signs of any chips, cracks, or signs of delamination. Looks like it is a factory glass, maybe the original possibly, but at least it is factory. Get a shot of the public VIN, and while I'm here, I get a view of the dash and looking for any cosmetic blemishes or any issues with a defective material or workmanship. So just a quick little scan, and right there on the windshield, there might be some guck, but okay. Looking at that, and then also here you can see where the looking at the hood, I can tell where it's a little hazy, right? And if we get the reading 6, 5, so yeah, so definitely higher. So the roof and the hood, I can see the haziness in the hood as well. Okay. Looking at the door, 3, 3.5, good. I always pay attention to the gaps here between the bed and the cabin, and I'm just checking for any signs of impact damage. And I measured from this point to here, and same on the right side, and the readings were consistent. Rear glass, good. Right, and here's a view of the back seats, or the front seat, or the bench seat, I should say. Okay. Also, just take a quick look at the fuel cap area, make sure nothing looks out of place, looks good. And let's get a shot of the left rear wheel well area. Nothing is getting my attention here as far as any issues here. Same thing, Michelin manufactured in 2017, 215 70 R15. The rims just have some surface rust. But again, that's cosmetic. And let's just do a final view here of the side panels. Again, just looking for any cosmetic issues or structural. Tail lights, don't see any cracks. Nicely secured. Okay, tailgate, I've already operated this. I always check in the jam area here, and nothing's of concern. Cables are good. Check these both bins. Typically that's where they would probably store the floor jack, I think, or I'll check it in the interior as well to see if it's there, but as of right now I haven't seen the tools for spare tire replacement. All right, a couple readings here. 3 and 3, good. Side panel view. And a view of the right rear wheel well area. And we can see some of the frame. Same Michelin's 2017 the manufacture date. Rims a little better here, and the tread looks good. I'm not seeing any abnormal wear. Mentioned already the gap that I checked between the left and the right side. View of the top side roof. Glass decent shape. Door reading 3, and the fender reading 3. And right front wheel well area. And not seeing any issues with the tire as well. Final view here before moving on to the next segment. In this segment of the video, what I like to do is I like to do a startup. That way you can experience what I'm experiencing when I started for the first time. Actually, it's going to be my second time. But we're going to listen to the way the engine cranks over, the starter engages, disengages, and how quickly it starts, if there's any obvious issues that happen to take place. And that way I can record it. Also, we're going to look at the instrument cluster. We want to see all the lights come on, like the check engine light, airbag lights, whatever fault lights it's equipped with. We want to make sure those are illuminating, so that way we know that there's no issues there. Those lights should go out after a second or two of running, because by then the vehicle has done its self-diagnosis. If there's any issues, those lights should remain on. In addition to all that, I'll also be doing a deep diagnostic scan too. So here we go. So ignition on, I see airbag light, I see maintenance, I see the low bag, that oil light lantern coming on. That's important too. That's the oil pressure or low oil indicator. So that should go off after it's been running. Odometer reading is 35,869. We'll look at the gauges, see how those work, and we'll pay attention to the idle speed. So here we go. I'll stay quiet. All right, so a nice healthy start. Let's see here. Fuel is just below half. The temperature reading, we're not getting one now, which makes sense because the engine is stone cold. When I finish this segment of this portion here, I'm actually going to let the car or truck idle for another 10 or 15 minutes while I move on with the rest of the inspection. So that way I can see if it overheats, see if the cooling fans kick on, and then we can pay attention to the temperature gauge to see if that is in fact working. What I see on right now is, looks like that is the warning light for a tire, maybe tire pressure indicator. So that's flashing. All right. And seatbelt, more likely because I'm not wearing one right now. Idle is below 1,000. That's where I typically like to see it, maybe a little lower. So we'll see if it drops a little bit more as the engine warms up. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to walk towards the rear of the vehicle. What I like to do is take a look at the exhaust. Right. And what I'm checking for are any signs of smoke, whether it be black, blue, gray, or white. That all means something internally. What I see right now is this condensation. That's acceptable, right? So, and we can see that this from the vehicle sitting. That's okay, but I'm not seeing any smoke. Moving towards the front of the engine. kind of let you know what I look for here. I take a look at the underside of the hood. I just check to see if the insulation is there, and I'm not seeing it. I always take a look at the emission sticker too, because the date. It's important that the date matches that of the build of the vehicle, and there's a number of reasons why I do that. Not seeing any obvious issues. I'm not seeing any creasing on the underside of the panel because it's been painted. So I check for any type of damage. Right. The engine bay looks nice and tidy. Not seeing anything really jumping out at me here. I also check for rodent nesting. That's that can be an issue as well. When I see rodent nesting, you run the risk of maybe some chewed up wiring, or they like to chew on the coolant hoses as well. And I'm not seeing that, so everything appears to be in order. The fluids, they're showing this truck some love here. All these fluids, they're like in fantastic shape. No need to do anything if you buy this truck as far as maintenance. The coolant, great. A washer fluid, it's even got the right color in there. Good. I checked looked inside here with the oil filler area. It was actually kind of hard to open, but I was able to get it open. I didn't see any buildup or neglect. Power steering fluid looks good. I looked at the engine belts when it wasn't running, and I didn't see any signs of cracks or weathering, dryness. Oil level looked good, as well as the transmission. That was nice and pink, and that brake fluid right there is as nice as it gets. That's like almost like brand new fluid. I look at the engine bay as well as much as I can, right? Because I'm checking for external oil leaks. I have a clear shot of the frame. I don't see any signs of impact damage. I've already checked the battery. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I run a battery test, and it shows. Let's see, the battery is good, right? This needs a recharge, probably just from sitting, right? Cranking is normal, so starter test and charging system test passed as well. So far this thing's checking out pretty solid. Just another view here of the underside here. And then I always like to get a shot of the pulleys, and I'm checking for any signs of wobbling, right? If there's wobbling, that means there's potential pulley bearing failure. But then typically I would hear something right prior to it getting that bad. I'm still going to check the engine with a stethoscope, right? Just to check for any deep sounds that maybe I'm not picking up, just not hearing it without using any tools or diagnostic aids. So I'll be doing that here right now. So in using the stethoscope, what I do is I hit key points of the components, the alternator, the power steering, the AC, and the idler pulley. I get direct metal contact there to see if any of that noise will resonate through the probe. Also check several points of the cylinder head and the block area, and that's using the stethoscope. So I take every measure to try to pick up on any issues that may be going on.